Pardon the technical difficulties. We'll get started here in a sec.
It's not the worst I've looked. It's just the most I've ever cared. Not the worst I've looked. I've looked. It's just the most I've ever cared. It's not the worst I've looked. It's just the most I've ever cared. It's not the worst I've looked. Just the most I've ever cared. It's not the worst I've looked. Just the most I've ever cared. It's not the worst I've looked.
Thank you, one and all. Thank you, few brave souls who have found yourself here. It's Portland. We're under siege. It's June 14th. Oh. Oh, this lovely, sad melody. Yeah. Yeah. That's the state of things today. We're basically under occupation. They've settled in at this point. Let me get rid of that music, sorry. All right, thank you. All right, so they haven't, I was wrong. They have not banned the use of tear gas, but like other places, excuse me a second, I've taken up smoking. Here, let me turn on the camera. This is really exhausting. One crisis after another. Get in here, Bishop. I'm gonna want to hear from you. All right. He's been out there all day. Have you noticed in the news how they've settled on a standard phrase? Even the petty things betray how much of a hoax, a contrived hoax it is. They've all settled on the phrase, what is it? Everywhere. It's nationally or internationally, protest against police brutality and systemic racism. That's the standard format now. And every fucking news story, I mean, just high, right to left. I mean, at Fox, maybe they phrase it differently, but, it's so insane. And if you're out here seeing it, the light's wrong. Let's get the lights right. Oh, God. Oh, hey, Glib, hi. Hi. What's New York like? You gotta come on, tell us about it. All right? Come on later and tell us what. Report from New York. Escape from New York if you can, too. I'm going to escape from Portland. It's got me smoking. I'm not eating. I was wondering why I threw on this old pair of jeans that just fit. I'm walking around downtown and I'm holding my pants up like these kids. And I realize it's because I've lost like 10 pounds in this fucking shit. I don't eat. I've started smoking. I got some great footage last night. I don't know if you saw it. Nobody ever sees this shit. This is what it was like last. It's going on right now, and I should be out there, but, like I said, it's exhausting. Thank you. And, frankly, what I need to do is go back to the internet and read. This is what it was like last. It's going on right now. We're looking up our own asshole now. Okay, this was last night, just before midnight. At least, maybe you've seen this. I pull up. I'm going south on Broadway. This is Main Street. They're moving down. Sound on? And the cops, I didn't know it, are pushing them up the street. So tear gas. You go out there today, and the tear gas is still in the air, walking around. You can feel a little bit of tear gas on your face. And then I push out and hide behind this pillar because I think they're going to start charging, but they didn't. I could have held position. And then they drive them down the street. I'm in my car at the light. We're all sitting in our car at the light, and this is going on. Normal commuters, people just driving around. There's no... It's an astoundingly unstable situation. This is going on downtown, and they haven't closed downtown. I guess they're afraid to. I mean, and they're doing this, like I said. I'm driving around, people are driving around. We jump out of our cars, we film, we jump back in our car. Dennis, God damn it. I'll never use camera. Now you see here they've got the zip ties to make arrests. But I still haven't seen them make but 2 arrests total. Now they've driven them back, right? And now they just this is probably going on right now. And now the cops back off, and the protesters declare victory, and they taunt them on their way out. You know, and sometimes the cops stop and let off some more tear gas, chase them back again, and this goes on all night. This is the unsteady state of things, and you know, whatever the cops are doing right or wrong, if they withdraw completely, those fuckers are just going to wreck down. You know, they're going to go nuts. They're going to establish an autonomous zone. So the graffiti's everywhere now. Today, all of a sudden, everywhere. It's Cascadia, Portland Autonomous Zone, and they're trying to make that happen. And it's so ridiculous. Because like downtown is they're getting away with so much downtown, and they've got City Hall, and they're basically running things, you know. But this is really about, and somebody said it, it's true, the police are the last. This is why I really hate, especially for people on the right, to adopt this anti-cop shit or a libertarian attitude, you know. Listen, we all hate cops. I grew up with the LA County sheriffs harassing us, so we thought they were the worst, but really they weren't that bad. Really, American cops generally aren't that bad. We have wrung a lot of integrity out of them, ironically, because of the high criminality of black people, and black people having advocates have led to legislation that actually has made the cops less corrupt. But of course, it's all this, you know, it's all acquiescing to the growth in this black culture that is right now expressing itself through this. But my point is, whatever the fucking cops are doing right or wrong here, if they withdraw from the streets, it's fucking over. And they've been in the street for 2 weeks now, and like I said, there's at least 200 Antifa in the park at Shrunk Plaza across from the Justice Center every night. The Justice Center's behind concrete and chain link, and it's got bright, blindingly bright lights shining out. And there's a few cops in gear, you know, standing around, and the buildings are like abandoned. I'm sure the bottom floors are abandoned, and they're boarded up. And they're covered in graffiti that says "Die Cops" and everything else. This is the peaceful protest, mind you. And if you didn't see it, and if you didn't have pictures of it available to you, if you read of it, you would have no idea how ugly it is. And I went down there, and of course now they're going after our pine. You know, this is the end of the Oregon Trail. We have statues, pioneer statue and stuff. They've defaced that. And we have our World War I statue. They defaced that, of course. Yeah, it's we're under occupation, and this is the point I was trying to make before I got sidetracked. You have to excuse me, a little scatterbrained today. That this whole thing is about destroying the last bastion of what conservative, you know, old white America. They've got the military. We see they have the military, how the military is lining up behind the coup, right? These ridiculous, even Petraeus is even pitching in a little bit. But these other guys, you know, don't criticize Trump too much for his inaction, because it's not clear he could do anything. If he tries to send in the military where it might be otherwise justifiable, he might be faced with a genuine coup. And they're going to say, he wanted to send the military against peaceful protesters. That's why we had to remove President Trump. That will be the fucking narrative. And that's what they're trying to spring on him. But, like I said, the whole thing really is about, destroying the last bastion of conservative or potentially conservative institution in America. Because despite the fact that they just keep filling, the chiefs and the upper ranks with these black lady chiefs. We've had a couple, We had one and then a white lady chief. Karen, she didn't last long. She bailed out. But, however they fuck with the cops, they cannot solve the final problem of black malice and violence that's going to keep causing this despair. As long as we try to enforce the law, some semblance, my God, people, realize how bad it is? Some semblance of our fucking values and laws in their neighborhood. It's just not tenable, you know. And they're trying to destroy the last line of defense, really, by destroying the cops. So don't be against the cops. We're not going to have cops. Here in Portland, it is a microcosm of what they're doing broadly, in that they're wearing our police out. They've got those fucking cops on the street chasing them, living in this nightmare world. To me, it's a nightmare. They're the target, you know, moving through downtown, and nobody even mentions in all this, these apologists for them, that they fucking wrecked a beautiful downtown. It's just fucking wrecked, you know. It's all boarded up and it's fucking filthy graffiti everywhere. It's such a profound betrayal by everybody, though. But everybody falling in line. You know, Tucker Carlson and somebody somewhere else, and Coulter. Nobody. Silence is violence, isn't it? That is so true. We're going to commandeer that slogan. Anyway, the cops pull out prematurely. Swear that's never happened to us before these. I thought for a moment that lead guy in the yellow shirt was dressed in a clown costume, and I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. This is a lawful assembly. Leave now to the west. That cat directly behind any of the cops there, that's Portland's iconic concert hall. Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall, I think it is. Yeah. And of course, they're not doing business. Everything's boarded up. If you do not leave, you may be subject to arrest and use of force to include ground control munitions. This is a lawful assembly. Leave now to the west. If you do not leave, you may be subject to arrest and use of force to include ground control munitions. And I don't know if that's support or people are just angry because they want to move on. All right. Yeah, I was downtown for 10 minutes, and that's what I run into. Yeah. And then later, I went a few blocks down, and I come north, and that same group, it's a few blocks down, and there they are standing off against probably the same group of cops. And again, this is probably going on right now. Tom Anderson says, I hear there's an autonomous zone being set up in Asheville now, Oregon. Oh God, it's so pointless. And I hear there's weird shit coming out of, what is it, Chaz. I always hated Chaz Palminteri. The guy who plays the gangsters, always. Who the hell is Chaz Palminteri? Why the hell is Chaz Palminteri trending? No, yeah, I see it's turning into a hell zone. And this is happening in the most progressive cities. And this idea of systemic racism, is finding the most fucking purchase in places like Portland and Seattle, which are already fucking progressive. I mean, Portland is just they just came out of a bullshit federal injunction, against the police for supposedly how they handled crazy people. About 2014, when just at the same time they were cranking up the BLM bullshit. Well, no, it went way back before that, but I think what happened was Joester's whole, because they've got a base here, a strong progressive base, as you see. And when Holder's Justice Department was going around looking for shit like this, they came to Portland and they wanted, and working with the activists here, they tried to find just plausible charges of racism, the standard thing against Portland police, but they don't have enough black people, and Portland police aren't that bad, so they couldn't find it. So they settled on a fucked up case where cops ended up shooting some mentally ill guy inside a care facility or something. But it's just so fucking typical of them that this is one of those impossible things cops have to do, dealing with crazy people, and there's a lot of them here on the streets. So anyway, I'm not trying to defend it. It's just so the cops have been laboring under that federal orders that all these extra restrictions on how they deal with these people. And you'll see the cops on the street. There's always 2 or 3 at least, standing off of the guy, and you can just tell treating them with this, with great care, Anyway, nonetheless, here, they just fold, and they already couldn't recruit cops before going into this. And the actions they're taking right now are just going to destroy the police department. They just will have to fill their ranks. They're going to replace regular cops with social justice approved cops. Chloe Eudaly, who's one of our Chloe Eudaly, and the black lady, skinny black lady, I forget her name, Joanne Hardesty, are leading this. Joanne's the leader. She's the skinny black woman from wherever. Anyway, Chloe Eudaly says their goal is, and they're going to get it, is that they're going to take a lot of work out of the hands of cops. We don't want the police to have contact with certain groups of people, and they're starting with crazy people. And I think they're going to go for, you can see it forming, it's going to be, we want to take away police contact with black people. Just explicitly what they've been working for. This has all been, for years, it's all been implicitly about, we don't want black people to have to observe the same laws. And that's their angle. I mean, they will have taken over the cops. And what security you'll have, it's hard to say, if you can't buy your own in a gated community, if they let people do that, I think they're going to have absolute power. Are they going to let, who gets to have a gated community? They'll have one. Who else, So I envision us going back to a sort of serfdom, where for the protection of some gated community, you'll have to, work or be whatever, be essentially a slave. That could happen. I'm sorry, man. I'm just, like I said, a little tired and scatterbrained. I hate that I have to work, man, and I'm missing all the action, but if you've seen one of these riots, you've seen them all. All right. What's the latest visionary you're near. Why don't you come on and tell us about Chaz, Fish? All right, let's see what you're saying. How autonomous is a place really if its food and water and electricity and sewer and emergency services are all dependent on the goodwill of outsiders who have nothing to offer? And yeah, it's silly. And, you know, it shouldn't be allowed for a moment. It's an outrage that the mayor, Jenny Durkham, and the governor, Jay Inslee, aren't sitting down and with the police chief and going to these guys and saying, hey, look, you know, we're going to give you some time to clear out of here, your little roadblocks and shit. But if you don't, the National Guard's going to come in and do it. Because a bunch of people, a rebel force has just entrapped everybody who lives inside this zone. I don't know how many people are within there. Capitol Hill. It's a small, gayish, nice neighborhood, hilly part of, I think, east of downtown Seattle. It's a shame they're fucking wrecking it. But there's a bunch of people in there who haven't been consulted, I imagine, and probably aren't very, don't feel very safe in coming out, you know, into the street and saying to these people, hey, no, I still want to be, you know, represented by the mayor, my elected mayor and governor and federal government and all this other stuff. None of that changed for me, guys. You know, it's like a prison block. Man, it's like, and they've even got the Blix out front, you know, providing the muscle. So it's like a third world, and I imagine it already is. Shakedowns going on, third world situation. There's some crazy shit I've seen going on there. I don't know if this was I'm going to try and look it up on Twitter. I don't know if this was BS or not, but they're saying the rules at Chaz. Have you seen this? The rules in Chaz are about, this is what I saw, somebody's, you know, it could be bullshit. I'm hoping it's bullshit. But it's something about people with criminal records are underrepresented, you know, out here in the big bad racist white America. So we're going to have like 50% representation of people with criminal records. But some of the girls have a problem with maybe some of the sexual offenses, you know, and it's, you know, you don't know what's a joke or what's not. Yeah. Yeah. Chris Alden says 30-year-old children setting up roadblocks while local police are nearby with directing traffic. Jenny Durkham is so fucking, it's already, she's the mayor of Seattle. She says, oh, it's going to be a summer of love in there. Is she even? You know, maybe the crisis is revealing just how awful, top to bottom, it is the political class and, you know, our executive class, leadership class, both in politics and private, you know, corporate America and everything else. You know, just how mediocre they are. Forget about their morals. We see them as evil. But I mean, Jenny Durkham. I mean, you would think she would at least have some self-preservative instinct right now and not say "Summer of Love," because this thing. You'd think she would be aware that this thing could be fucking. I don't know. Who's that fucking rapper? Yeah, him and his crew start shooting a bunch of people and shit. This could be like Jonestown, right? So Jenny should at least, you know, be careful. But no, she's like 12-year-olds. And yeah, Trump too. But, you know, the mayor of Seattle is like this fucking petulant girl who hates that meanie bully. You know, while fucking savages are, I don't know how savage it is really, but LARPers and savages are in this dangerous dance in the middle of her fucking city. Lovely city. I lived there 20 years. Really. You know, I set that city on fire when I had a week blogging at the Stranger. But I set it on a metaphorical fire, peaceful fire. Right. I'm going to be right back. I'll right back. Wait, wrong song. That's only for the outro. Love that. All right, so they've banned Seattle, like other places where they're taking away the weapons of the cops at the same time these people are on the streets. The cops are using LRADs. I didn't hear them. Some homeless, I think he was homeless. You can't really tell in Portland. Some homeless guy said to me 2 nights ago, if you're going out to wear earplugs, they're using some shit. I guess they were using the LRAD, and it's, long-range acoustic devices. I don't know if I've ever experienced that. But I think I've been seeing these green laser beams. Green lasers out there. I don't know what they are. They're something the cops are using for sighting. Yeah, but it's a very weird situation. Like, I was away from the action late, very quiet in this parking lot, like outside the car, just dead quiet. And I look up and I see a tracer from one of those effing things. There's nothing happening anywhere near me. Anyway, there's a little UFO up there, little green. But I know it had something to do with these green lasers I've been seeing around. Somebody was shooting a laser up there. But the whole thing is, like I said, it's beyond malpractice and beyond a lie when they talk about these things being peaceful. Because even the, strictly, technically peaceful nature of it is intimidating and ugly, and it's shutting down downtown, and it's the graffiti and, just the fucking ugliness of it. They are intimidating. It's political terror, very effective, And over time, it's having an effect. Like I said, they're going to break this police department, which may, we're going to have perhaps cops walking out en masse. They're not going to get any support. The mayor is also the police commissioner. He keeps caving. Yeah, his speech. Where's the mayor's speech? Yeah, here's the mayor.
Hello. Thank you, Lilith. I appreciate it.
Do you?
I wanted to be here tonight. I wanted to hear directly from all of you about your demands. I do not want to give a speech because I do not want to take away from the moment or distract or take away from the voices that this movement elevates. But I thought it was very important for me to be here and hear directly the demands, and I appreciate it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Nope. You're not done.
What did you promise?
Tell us your promise.
What did you promise us from the police not to do that?
What's not going to happen
Not
tonight?
gonna happen to
Hello?
you.
So there is a change. I made a commitment during that meeting. There are some of you who are wearing earplugs because of the LRAD, the sonic mode on the LRAD. I have sent out a directive. The police chief has agreed. The LRAD will not be used. No LRAD.
What about the tear gas? You're not done, Ted. You're not done. Tear gas.
You remember, here's one of the precursor events. I mean, it's all, there's no single, even group, even dozens, even 100 events, really, that can be called true precursors, but significant precursor event to this was the Evergreen State College. And they're doing to Ted exactly what they did to that cheesy little dean of that college, right? Who was totally on their side, like Mayor Ted. They drag him out here and they just indulge himself, berating him.
Tear gas. You gotta stop the fucking tear gas.
Hold on. It's clear they want to know how you feel about the tear gas. Can you let them know how you feel about the tear gas?
I do not like the tear gas. I think it's ugly. It is not focused enough.
What you gonna do about
The city
it?
of Seattle today, late this
We're not in
afternoon,
Seattle. We're not
banned the
Seattle.
use of tear gas for 30 days except limited circumstances. We should do the same. Tomorrow, my colleagues and I will be making
Tonight. You have the power to do it tonight.
I don't know. I like the interpreter. He's great. They've all got one now.
Use your privilege, Ted. Use your privilege.
Yeah. Yeah, and then in one of the articles, here he is addressing them again. They've gotten away with this shit. They're doing this outrageous shit 2 weeks now. It's no excuse.
Jaywalking is not a crime.
Say it again.
You need to legally.
And there's not even a moment to say, guys, maybe you shouldn't be fucking wrecking the city and screaming abuse at cops and other people and everything else. Not a moment. Where's the Sieska? All right, where is this? Can I say B? I don't want to say it. The punk band Throbbing Gristle had a hit song called Zyklon B Zombie. All right, I'm going to open a Hangout. Yeah. Idiocracy. Well, it really is an There's several elements, all right? We know it's not about the black people's anger, though. That's sort of the active ingredient. That's, like I say, that's the nuclear fuel rod of all. That's what they're using, and it's real for the black community, and they have, real goals. And they're not just a tool. They're getting what they want. When I see guys quoting Malcolm X and others, God bless them. God bless Jesse Lee Peters and all these guys, Marcus Garvey. But I think the political, the shysters, the Sharptons, and others actually are right if you accept the perspective that black people accept. Is I want what's best for me and black people, and I want us to do better. If that means we rule over the other people, fine. We deserve it. That's their point of view. And they're getting it in a sort of empire, right? And they're getting it in, they're, what's the phrase? They're like a vassal state within the empire, and they're going to have great power. You see, and they have a certain prestige, even, and they have certain prestige that gives them leverage over even the, the real ethnic group that's running this shit. Because this is all dependent on them, and this whole thing is, a lot of it is about paying them. This thing kind of morphed out of Joe Biden's, bullshit win. That bullshit, probably fabricated win in South Carolina. Clyburn's endorsement, all of a sudden Joe Biden cleans up in South Carolina, and it's over. Democracy. And now he owes Black America a favor, right? I think it wasn't enough, and this kind of grew out of that. Another precursor stream into this. Let's open a hangout. I want to hear Jonathan Poll's take on it. I missed your hangout last. I think you stream at Saturday nights, right? I had to work, and then I tried to get a little bit of footage. God forsaken. What's happening? Are we still on? Yeah, so it's that for blacks. Thank you for bringing me back online, Chris. It's a multiracial coalition. Yeah. And for them it's so funny, and they get away with so much. It's ridiculous. They're getting away with this, which is maybe the worst part of it, that they're getting away with it. And sane people are sitting at home just like watching, okay, this is going to play out like every other bullshit thing plays out. Even 9/11 played out. We went back to normal, or did we? Yeah, that's the scary aspect. And there's the perverse dynamic driving it, the cultural element. Again, Antifa's doesn't have the true agency or autonomy, isn't running things here either, really. They're a tool too. Like I said, they're like Viet Cong, and when this is done, most of them will just be cut loose, set adrift. They'll drift off into criminal gangs or right-wing groups or whatever. But it won't matter by then. There's so few of us left. Unless we were to stand up. Like I said, I'm just going to move to Eastern Oregon or Idaho and say, well, at least go to a place where there's more Hawaiians. Oregon might not be bad. Maybe if you Hawaiian folk would pour into here, we could just vote these fucks out. Portland and everywhere else. Let's see what this is. I haven't seen this.
Don't let him take that microphone. You need to legally identify yourself. If a police officer has probable cause to stop you for a crime or a violation.
Correct. But is jaywalking a crime?
Jaywalking is not a crime.
So, but not identifying yourself for
Is
that.
jaywalking a crime?
Jaywalking is a violation.
Is jaywalking a crime?
There's a difference between a violation and a crime.
You are correct. But is jaywalking a crime?
Yes, submit.
Yes or no?
No.
Jaywalking is not a crime,
Just
but there
say
have
no.
been approximately 10% of African American males that have been locked up in jail for jaywalking.
Yeah, this is what the argument is going.
Thank you, Lilith. I appreciate it.
Do you?
I wanted to be
Shut up, Ted. I'm trying to open my Hangouts. I don't know why. No, that's YouTube apps. It's weird. All right, I'm going to open a Hangout. Because I'm lazy. Invite the good people. Who else is out there? I want to hear from Glib. We don't normally. Who else is out there? Who else should I invite? Anybody? Yeah, anyway. Jonathan Paul says, where's your sign guy, Dennis? Who's my sign guy? Oh, okay. I'm going to do my own. Dennis does all his own stunts and all his own signing. Yeah. So that should be working. Let's go to Twitter, and we can also invite people via the Twitter. If I remember how to do this. Oh, why are you not following? Why are you not following Dennis on? Follow this on Twitter. So I'm back here. Furtively back on Twitter. Untethered, I'm calling it. And they're at Untethered Dale. Yeah. And you get lots of good media. And you see what's going on in Portland. I like Twitter still. It's too bad it's so fucked up. It's so astoundingly on the side of this BLM, which is another scary aspect. Drudge. What happened to Drudge, you guys? Somebody tell me. What happened to Drudge? He's thoroughly on the side of this shit, right? I mean, I knew he was always kind of a neocon, but I thought maybe the nationalist aspect, you know, that he agreed with Trump on a lot of stuff, you know, and that he, you know, I thought Drudge at least understood, like Obama's fucking perfidy with BLM. He understood that the narrative is bullshit. At least there was that. He was a Zionist and neocon, but I guess he sold the site, right? Did he sell it? And so it's got nothing to do with him, and so somebody else entirely has it. It's weird. This is the thing that Drudge was elemental in bringing Trump to power years ago. It's just so fucking strange. And I don't see anybody talking about it. I don't know if Drudge is relevant anymore. I still go there. Just, it's bracing now. Yeah, so this is the, this is the thing now. Cascadia, Portland Autonomous Zone. That's what they're throwing up. And you saw Ted giving a speech in front of this nice statue of pioneers, right? It was, you know, end of the Oregon Trail. Here's the pioneers, and of course, they're drenched in blood. You know, you could have just put a camera in the guy, phone in the guy's hand and make it look like he was taking a selfie, and had a little gentle fun with it, you fucking bastards. But you're so joyless. It's just hate, hate, hate. Yeah. And they busted a couple of homeless guys. You know, we've got crazy homeless people, right? 2 homeless guys causing trouble on the transit. One of the things they want to defund, by the way. And because they, you know, they each used a racial epithet somewhere along the line, so they're going to get fucking... Maybe it's not so bad for these guys. They can be... Being in jail is better for a lot of these guys, but... You know, it's just... I was out today looking at all the homeless. I went to Old Town. I've been hanging around downtown. I went north into Old Town, and still worse than ever. It's just the homeless everywhere, fucking tents everywhere. It's always a wreck. And these people, you know, who are up here, you know, literally crying, you know, over the supposed depression of the blacks. It's just ignoring the homeless, you know, this wretched population in our midst that are all fucking refuse of this fucking whole system. Really, they are of a whole with the system that has placed this absurd people, this childish and violent people, as the moral, you know, the moral aristocracy of America is so fucking absurd. And like I said, there's a logic to it. Just as the most important people in the progressive left coalition eventually became drag queens, you know, were leading the way. And what is it about drag queens? Well, they're the most narcissistic human beings you could imagine. They're absolutely obsessed with it. It should be in the DSM. It's a narcissistic malady. Somebody probably described it as that back when we were sane. Likewise with the blacks. And there's a logic to democracy, I think, there too. I mean, they're proving it's certainly untenable. It's certainly untenable in a modern technological world, in a multiracial world, in our world. And I don't know the answer, other than to establish an enclave and try, to separate off from this fucking madness. Josephine Cotton says, I found some MJ candies laying in a hotel parking lot a couple of years ago. Thank God some kids didn't find it. I thought it was just some straight candy. You mean marijuana? Weed? That's funny. Oh, God, yeah. No, I ate brownies at a party once. I thought it was harmless. I fucking gave myself such a huge headache. I didn't know. Yeah. Yeah, it's just funny. Thinks Tom had a great quote. What was it about? Yeah, all right, Glib, that's okay. All right, Jonathan will be along later, thank you. Where is that great quote? Yeah. Tom Anderson, there are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. Lennon said that. And really the decades where nothing happens are the good ones. These people are also in love with the idea of revolution. They don't have anything really to revolt about. And our economic, I'm all for the economic populism, and I'm all for wresting power from the 1%, but the problem is the power they hold. It's not so much that we're fucking starving in poverty out here. And until they started really wrecking things about 10 years ago, we still was genuinely a land of opportunity, not to sound too corny. That is, if you had a talent and you could fucking pursue it in an Aristotelian fashion. We didn't know how good we had it. We didn't know how good we had it and what they're ruining. No, I mean, yeah, even that concern. And these fuckers have captured that idea. And these kids think this is about that too. Of course, it all falls apart without like I said, the nuclear fuel rod, the black fucking demagoguery. And I was reading Burroughs' book, Days of Rage again, right? And, in the 60s, it was the same story. When Vietnam petered out, they were looking around, and there was nothing. Feminism wouldn't cut it. The only thing that would cut it was black civil rights. It has a power. It has a hold. Because of the unique nature of the Negro and our fascination with them. We can't, you can't discount that. You have to account for that. The dynamic, the perverse dynamic that drives it. Like I said, it's these kids sitting there listening to these idiotic, violent black people. Ironically too, this sounds crazy, but precisely what these kids are worshiping, they don't realize it, these more primal, elemental people. Precisely what they're worshiping is that more violent nature that is causing all the problems in the first place. And I see this, and I don't see why nobody we see it. I'm sure you guys would agree with me. But why so many of them don't see it? Again, they keep turning out. The regular folk are not out so much anymore, but still plenty of Antifa. And Antifa hangers on, people who don't even look like they're political. It's a rally for a lot of kids still, too. I don't know. Something's got to give. Maybe this is the darkness before that dawn. For the dawn of that American Renaissance. For the white people All right. LRADs are out. Tear gas still, like I said, very much in. It's an open hangout. No holds barred. GSP says he's never seen Americans so. It is. It's so gay. The whole negrophilia about it is so gay. It's embarrassing, you know. Seeing all these people turning out their signs. Yeah. Well, not all is lost, but this is lost. Portland is lost. I don't know how to turn it around. We could go stand around monuments and protect them. It's about the only thing I can think of doing. Chris Alton says looters are getting free shoes and Latinos are making money putting up plywood. Yeah. They'll put up plywood and paste the flyers for the business on the plywood, yeah. We'll board you up quick, and everybody's out there boarding up in the day. It's funny, yeah, they were out, the Mexicans are out there boarding up business in the middle of the night when the little mini rioting is going on, like right down the block, you know. It's pretty hilarious. It's not hilarious. I've got to stop saying that. Visionary says it's the unique elemental brutishness of those creatures. Yeah, we are very different. We see something that I think we've lost. We've got to stop worshiping at the altar of this dumb fucking brute strength. You know, they admire their very obtuseness. Their obtuseness is not the word. You know what I mean? That stubborn, stupid. You know, their very illiberality. It's weird. And it's presented them to as these people are, you know, what they're hearing is the suffering of people profoundly oppressed. This elemental people, these original people. God, it's so bizarre. I hope some from exposure to it start to wake up. But there's a lot of dumb out here. And yeah, there's just all credulity here. Okay. King Kush saw a dude with a beard and capri pants and heels going into chest. Yeah. Yeah, what's going to happen, right, when the rapper brigade, the rapper faction says, oh, yeah, we're going to pimp out these sissies, and you guys are going to be cool with it. You know, shit like this is going to be happening. God, it's so weird. It's so bizarre. And they all stand by, like I said, the mayor and the governor of Seattle, governor of Washington sitting there watching this and having their petty fights with Trump. And like I said, Trump is either simply just sitting there in a state or he is genuinely immobilized with few options, knowing, like I said, that the general's coup will come. And they're all waiting, you know, the media, everybody is waiting. His own party, his own Republican Party is waiting just to acquiesce to removing Trump from office. Yeah. Color revolution. It's just a Soros style color revolution. King Kush sends. Oh, yeah. King Kush sends a link. Oh, damn mosquito, I think. Sends a link of the Chaz wall if this damn thing would just get back to me. Chaswell. Yeah, they've got cops. Chaz has the cops. Ted's out there in a hoodie and jeans. You know, it's so embarrassing. All right, here we go, Kush. The Chaz Wall. Live at the Chaz Wall. Awesome, thank you. So it's a couple of cars and some cyclone fencing here. I wonder where that is. Pine and something. East Pine Street. Oh, God, this motherfucker. You know, there's this great little breakfast place there with a giant used bookstore next door. I bet you can't get to it now. Four blocks, somebody says on here. It's 4 blocks, is it? It's a tiny little thing. Yeah, they want to grow it. Chaz is what they want for everywhere, remember. Chaz, ink blots. They have an ink blot strategy for Chaz's everywhere. The best strategy might be to fucking shut them off. No, see, if you shut them off, there are people in there trapped in there. This is just ridiculous. Who the fuck do people think they are? It's a great adventure for a bunch of stupid people. The delusional, the foot soldiers, the delusional, committed lefties. Oh, what sound? Yeah. It's a dangerous mix of LARPers and dangerously scary people. And still, the so-called right-wing terror threat does not appear, you know. And they're counting on that. They're waiting for that to happen. They're trying to push that to happen. You know, just like they're trying to push cops into acts of brutality and feed that right back into the narrato-matic. All right. Josephine Cotton's Coffin says the first time she ever tried marijuana was at the Evergreen State College. Yeah, well, they're into all kinds of shit there now, right? Lots of weed and other things probably is what's going on. And I wonder, do you wonder, guys, what factor in this has the current sort of pharmaceutical makeup of the average American, right? These kids and these fucking impotent adults and everybody else. Not just all the weed that kids smoke now, but all the prescription drugs, and everybody's on, you know, whatever they take now. I don't take anything. Xanax or whatever the fuck. Is this why we're sleepwalking into this madness? Yeah. I keep thinking that they're going to try and topple one of these statues. I should be down there to film it at least. GSP says cops have begun resigning in droves. Yeah, they're driving them out, and we're letting it happen, right? Your impotent political class is not standing by the cops. Because the cops have been eliminated as the last bastion of genuine Republican government, really. Not of white people, yeah, but it's really the last bastion of integrity, really. You know, I think it was in George Frazier's The Golden Bough. He talks about your universal, pre-Christian concept of the spirit in the corn. And every year when people wherever, various places, a couple different places, they thought of the corn having a spirit, and when they cut it down, they thought that they were driving the spirit of the corn ever down into the last bit, and they went through some ritual recognizing that the last spirit of the corn was always in the last ear, right? He was driven down to the last ear of corn, and they did something with it, like they would dress it up and save it for next year or some shit. That's what they're doing with us. It's like they're fucking driving us out of the corn. And it's like, the cops and whatever little bit of fucking, whatever ours that's left is the spirit of the corn that fucking they have to lop off at the end ceremonially. That doesn't make sense. But this is City Hall right now. Fourth branch. Can you see this? Let me get this off of here. Nobody's showing up. Fourth branch is our Antifa division. They're everywhere. Tupac. Yeah, Tupac, man. This idea of the soulful Negro. It's a party for crazy people will show up ranting, and you don't know if they're among the protesters or not. It's always this weird moment. Like when this flaky guy in his giant freedom bus shows up, and they all love him because he's a black guy, and he comes and tells some stories about how he witnessed lynchings and shit. Who knows if it's true? Where's my dance off? You gotta see this. This is hilarious. Boy, we've been at it a while.
It's supposed to be a diverse place.
Oh, yeah.
The rope around his neck, good. This is facts. This is true. I pulled a rope.
Nice claiming that he took a rope from some guy's neck.
They jumped off the truck and put a rope around his neck, good. This is facts. This is true. I pulled a rope off his neck. I'm from the old school. I went through this shit on the plantation down in Louisiana. So I'm here to let you know what it feels like to be a black man in the United States. Running around with a peace truck. And I still did 20 tickets last year. 20! $700. Over $300. I got them here to prove to you. This ain't no joke, y'all. Take it serious, man. They fucking up the black folks bad. Indians and all. They fucking us up. All the anger coming out of we can't even get along. It's supposed to be a diverse United States. It's supposed to be a diverse place. We all supposed to be doing the same shit I'm talking about. Love each other. Spread kindness. Join me on a journey of kindness. Join me on a journey of kindness.
He works himself
It
up
ain't
into
about
France.
pain and separation. It's about love, peace,
Love,
empathy for all people.
and kill the pigs.
Carry the message. Look at that man in the eyes who you don't know when you cross the street, man. Talk your shit. I ain't talking no shit. I'm talking facts. Dude, this shit is real. I got wounds on my ass to tell you. I get naked and let I'm here to show it to you and tell you about it.
You know, forever on the cross, right? That's what black people are doing for these guys. We're going to forever suffer on the cross, and you're going to forever atone. And you're going to get off on that. And they like to get a visceral thrill. They think they're sharing it, like when they fight the cops. They want to be like George Floyd, battling with the cops, oppressed by the cops.
This ain't no joke. These folks will take your life riding on them goddamn trucks with all that armor on, with all that mace, with all them automatic weapons. We don't have that. All we have is our voice and our experience and our scope.
Whoa, what happened? Oh, and he starts going, tell your stories. Tell your stories. Yeah. Oh, and the Vietnamese restaurant, yeah. God, these guys went all out. However you say that. They just had it's all Black Lives Matter and all that shit. We're with you, man. And this is popping up, the acquiescence, the, you know, fucking signs everywhere, like, you know, Martin Luther King quotes on every little billboard sign and shit. Yeah. Oh, God, you got to hear some shit here, too. Where is it?
System, you need to be honest with yourself. What you're doing.
This is just me listening to the live feed on the radio because I can't get away, and some guy with a Jamaican accent is just screaming at the white people.
I know there's a lot of people here that work in the school system. You need to be honest with yourself. What you're doing is not right. Let black people get in the school because we can really make a difference. Y'all don't want us to do that. I understand y'all upset. But like it was already said, I doubt y'all half as upset as I am. So if I'm not over here wilding out, if I'm not over here blowing up stuff, if I'm not over here messing up my community, then what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?
What are y'all doing? Why aren't you rioting?
The principals here, I know there's a lot of people here that work in the school system. You need to be honest with yourself.
Yeah. It's appalling. It goes on, and they sit there and pretend like they're hearing something profound. It's so obviously stupid and fucking wrong. There's an element of humiliation to it all. That's ridiculous, George Floyd, that ugly-ass face, right?
They jumped off the truck and put a rope.
They jumped off the truck and put a rope around his neck. Yeah. I've never seen, white America is so gay to accept this shit. It's just so gay. Glib Medley says, my hood is based, no pride flags, no BLM crap. Awesome. God, I wish I was there. Yeah, I'm sure there are places that are like that. There's all these great buildings around town, and I don't appreciate architecture enough. I don't know anything about it. I like a good, ugly old building just as well as anybody else, but now I'm looking at stuff, and there's, there are lots of reproduction projects going on and shit. Portland had money. These fuckers are that's why they're doing it too, right? They're going where the money is. And they're restoring these great old buildings. At least they're doing that, where they're not putting up the ugly old towers. There's going to be no money left for that shit. And more of the old buildings will be torn down because the progressive left likes to tear down the old buildings and put up new apartments, and they put there's always a carve out. you know, in a nice fucking downtown apartment where you pay outrageous rent, there's always a carve out for some low income housing. So Joanne Harvesty and the other activists, you know, can put their folks in there. It's just one of the things. God, it's so ugly. I mean, they're getting everything they want now, too. What's that? What's 7 stories, Gib? I'm at a lull. I don't know what else to say. You know, the mind founders in the stupidity of it. You know what I mean? I can't breathe, you motherfuckers. I mean, you're swimming in their shit, trying to understand it. You know, I mean, there's just elemental facts that shouldn't be there. Like all these people believe in this nonsense, right? And it's the whole world, apparently. You know, even when you see other countries, you know, I assume Putin and China, they know better when they chide us for our racism. But I'm not sure the whole world really understands what bullshit it is. Some of them still genuinely believe it, like Europe did for years and years, until they acquired their own troublesome priestly class, and now berates them, and now is destroying London. It's also insane, guys. In 2016, I'll admit, what a dumb schmuck I am. But, you know, we thought we had something with Trump. Something started. Something bigger than him, you know. That was our absurd play. But it's all just gone, it just kicked everything into high gear. You know, accelerationists, be careful what you wish for. You know, because I've said it. Okay, well, if Trump doesn't work out, he's an accelerant. Well, yeah, I'd say both are true. Maybe it'll work to our favor. But, you know, this just isn't cute anymore. Progressive left in Black America. Tom Anderson makes an excellent point. The fact that there was a BLM march in Japan indicates that the American intelligence apparatus is at work in this thing. Oh my God, you're so right. I don't know why I didn't think of it. It's got to be happening. You saw the effing embassy in Seoul post a flag. It's so wrong. But, yeah, fucking people in the CIA and elsewhere abroad are encouraging this. Just like a color revolution. They're encouraging a global movement. It's so absurd. And is the world going to fall for this? Doesn't matter. You can get a couple of hundred dumb people, even in Japan, even in a relatively sane, intelligent place like Japan. You can always gin up a few hundred dopes. God help us. Do I still have Hangout open? All right. We've got to invite some people. Who's out there? Who are some of the people we've forgotten? Claire Ka. I'm going to bring Claire Ka in here if none of you guys come in. Let's invite her. She's probably asleep, right? We'll get her take on it. Who else? Jürgen Furtzwangler. Hi, Jürgen. Says, Dennis just doesn't get it. The world has changed in a fundamental way, and unless you get on board, you'll be left behind in the dust. Wrong side of history, you say? I like dust, baby. I came from dust. I shall return to dust. That's what I'm doing. I know I don't want to go with it. You know, okay, the world's going that way. I'm not interested. You're saying there's no place for dissent? Wow. There's no place for an alternative lifestyle to global home? Fuck. That's really what this is about, too. Like I said, destroying the last bastion of resistance by destroying the police. you know. Thanks, Jurgen. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks. Why don't you come on and tell me about it, Jurgen? Send me your email. I want to be. Well, yeah. I guess if you can persuade me. Where's that damn guitar? I have an out-of-tune guitar here that says different. Somebody's got to come on or I'm going to play guitar. Oh, sorry. This poor old guitar. Oh, God. Tell me, Jurgen. What am I missing out on? What am I missing in all of this? That element. That element of it. That would make it make sense. What am I witnessing? The end of the world? Or its birth? I like the sound when my little chord here messes up the strings. It's a mad world, guys. Somebody say something to snap me out of this. Please, get me out of my funk. I'm going to light another cigarette. I went from not smoking to chain smoking. Really, over 2 days. I don't eat. Clothes are hanging off of me. And there's a slight tremulous feeling sometimes. Guess that's what they call anxiety. Oh, here's my favorite. Lone white guy. There's our future. Jurgen. Is this what I should be doing, Jurgen? Should I be like this suburban dad in the middle of it all? Watch. Oh, yeah, that screeching, yeah, they're blaring this Indian music.
So can you please get down? Thank you, bro. Thank you. I love you. Don't.
First thing he says is get the fuck off the truck.
I broke up my shit last night. Get the fuck off the trailer. I don't mean it in that way, but y'all messed my stuff up. So can you please get down? Thank you, bro. Thank you. I love you. Don't take that wrong. I broke up my shit last night. Get the fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. It's part of the humiliation process, all the stupid comic shit they do. People sit and soak it up. Like I said, they take it seriously. Love wins, though, so that's good. Tom Anderson says, why does he think that the Hopi Indians need his charity? Oh, the guy has that Hopi Indians thing. Yeah, I'm not even sure the guys get the money. You know, does he really give the money to the Hopi Indians? A bunch of people give him money here and off he goes. They don't know where that money goes. You know?
You still got some of your jeans. You still got some of your jeans in here. You mad? You gonna get bread up in DC? You mad? That was why? You mad? That was why we some shoes, some brown down. You don't gotta be
Yeah. Yeah. Tom Anderson asks, how much longer will we have to hear every single jogger whining? That's our future, always. That's exactly what they're saying. It's hilarious. There's an article in the New York Times about that Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know if they've come. I'm sure they're coming around for him, but it's the other guy, the guy from SNL, the harmless Irish comedian who's given no trouble to anybody until he mussed the hair of Donald Trump on his talk show, right? Fallon, Jimmy Fallon. There's an article in the New York Times, The Re-Education of Jimmy Fallon. Kamal Bell, who's a comedian, supposedly, right? A black dude, a comedian appointed by the powers that be to be a comedian, and now Jimmy Kimmel has to go to him and seek absolution because Jimmy Kimmel once did that blackface skit. It's also absurd. And in the article, you know, Kamal Bell, just like a lot of these guys, is scary. They're revealing themselves, and still the good whites aren't paying attention. But, you know, guys like Kamal Bell and there's people like, no, we're in charge now. You know, we're going to set rules on everything. You know, like Hollywood, right? They're all over Hollywood. Jimmy Kimmel is just one of them. I mean, Fallon. And Kamal Bell says, yeah, well, white people, you've got homework. We're going to be wanting to see your work. The condescension, right, and confidence of these idiots who were placed there who didn't really earn it, so to speak. They didn't earn their path to power, but except being picked out by other people and put in charge of shit. But it's scary, and until the good whites wake up, they're coming out and they're making these fucking scary speeches, and they're doing God knows what in Chaz. And still, white America just lays there, right? Yeah, and you go to these, and there's all these fucking salt and pepper pears at these fucking demonstrations, right? Just blackpilling your ass. Yeah. We'll never escape because of these dumb bitches, for one thing. Until we can get away from the fuckers. Josephine Coffin says Howard Stern is under fire for the same thing. Yeah, he needs to go down in this. He's the one person that I think needs to be canceled by cancel culture. I loved that show for years, listened to it at work. It was great, and at the time it was red pilling, and I always hated the stupid part of it. I always hated the broy shit, the skits and crap. They had a skit. He's not canceled yet because he's very useful. This is very telling, isn't it, Josephine? Why he's not canceled. He has friends, and he's important to the megaphone because he's going to amplify this shit. That's the deal he's cutting right now. He's such a prick. Because he was always red-pilled, and he was always, it was amazing. His show was a breath of fresh air, frankly, on things like the race question. He just didn't take it seriously. We were naive back then and thought we were going to own the libs and laugh our way to this. Rush Limbaugh came up about the same time and was a similar sort of counterculture figure. But Stern was all alone. But, then over time, though, he's been so responsible for so many degenerate cultural themes. MILF. That fucking MILF. I remember that originated on Howard. He's the one who popularized that stupid phrase. All kinds of stupid shit like this. This is going to sound weird, but I swear to God, talking about duty, right? He would talk about, his bowel movements and stuff. I always thought that was comedy death, but people eat that shit up. Excuse the phrase. But that sort of thing. Dr. Oz had a show. I swear Dr. Oz's show derived from that. He was sprouting off things left and right. And he's so representative, though, of the problem of freedom of expression, frankly. Because a lot of it was brilliant. It was great, and I was eating it up. But, all the imitators, like a guy like Howard Stern, you can set him off and say, yeah, he's crazy, but, God bless him, and he tells the truth. But all the imitators come along, right? And all he managed to do was just pornify the culture, right? He's talking about porn and jacking off. Very Jewish thing. It's just awful. But the real reason he needs to be counseled is because he turned, He became a Manhattan liberal, and he's up there talking, for of all people, for him to fall in line with this shit, it's just revealing, it's cynical, he's not fooling me about believing this shit. I didn't know what changed in his head, or he's just been cynical the whole time, I guess. Stern got away with it because he was ultimately paused the whole time, visionary, yeah. But how the fuck does he go on? He needs to be canceled. And I haven't listened to the show for, God, like 15 years or something. He went on Sirius Radio in 2005. I don't think I listened to it since. He needs to go down. Stan, I admit I laughed a lot at that show. I only liked when he was riffing. The only good parts was the best part was the end when Robin read the news, right? And he would just riff on, and it was often goofing on some ridiculous PC stuff. King Kush asks, did Robin leave that black chick? What's that? Did Robin leave, or did Robin take on acquire a black lover and leave her? I remember her being straight. Josephine Cotton. Cat. Excuse me. Yeah. Visionary says, Stern is straight out of The Ordeal of Civility. I've never read it. Cudahy thought that those people would eventually choose civility and grow out of vulgarity. Yeah, no, we all devolved to it. Democracy, really. A democratic culture. The culture of the the mass in this environment. You know, our culture is driven a lot by our, you know, our worshipped Negroes. And that's horrid. What this is about for black people, and this dangerous thing that the people who are manipulate all this black rage, the dangerous thing they're playing with, is that for black people it really is about dominating. No, we're going to run the country. We're in charge of things. You know, and it's weird. How were they put in charge? You know, by what legal political process? By the acquiescence of all our elected officials. And the fourth institution, the fucking press. No defenders abroad, really. Perhaps if Trump was a better statesman, a better man, he could have made something of this. You know, but he's in an impossible situation, I think. You know, this reveals he frankly has no real power. You know, and maybe the Republicans are just acquiescing to because they think they'll win in November, which is really sick, right? Oh, we'll win in November, and then they'll capitulate a bunch of shit. Because nobody's pointing out all these crazies that are proving this shit. Golly, Trump, you know, touting those black employment numbers that were true at least, and gave them their big fucking crime bill. He's ruling like a liberal Republican, except on the immigration issue. You know, that they could wheel around, and intersectionality wins out. You know, just like, you know, what we've seen in 2020 is the triumph of intersectionality. First, they disposed of Sanders, you know, who's kind of, you know, a loose cannon. You know, he's not entirely off the reservation, but they didn't want anything to do with Sanders, any genuine, you know, sort of economic populism that might have come out of there. Genuine economic reform, you know, that would hurt. With intersectionality with the blacks and Biden. Really, that set off this whole process, I think. And I think the same people are furiously trying to get that awful Stacey Abrams in there, for instance, who cooked this up. We'll probably get Kamala Harris, which is ironic, right? Because she was Attorney General of California, put a bunch of people in jail. Which, of course, is supposed to be a bad thing. You know. But we'll probably get her. We're going through what we went through in the 60s again, remember, with riots, and they got all sorts of reform following on the riots. They got the Kerner Commission report that said, oh, yeah, we have to do all, you know, basically bought into all their complaints. And now we're going through it all over again, and it's fucking... Josephine Coffin asks if Sarah Silverman is sweating. She did blackface, right? I remember she did that awful unfunny bit where she dressed like Hitler. She was occasionally funny when she was younger, here and there. She had a few good lines. Female comics don't age well. Sorry, Josephine. Tom Anderson says it's going to be Stacey. President Stacey. Yeah, we're going to get a crazy black lady president out of this. I'm seriously thinking about immigration now. Where could a guy go who doesn't have a shitload of money? He's older, but he's still relatively vital. Can work. Won't work. Just expect to work. Don't care. Costa Rica. Maybe I can go someplace and have one of those pedal bikes. Keep me fit, pedaling tourists around. maybe, I'm getting tired. I'm going to have to turn in soon. But I had an idea. If any of you intrepid sorts out there want to do this, remember the film Medium Cool? Some guy made a film in 1968. What was that guy's name? He's a lefty. Made a film. It's a really cool movie called Medium Cool. And it was all like cinema verite. He was out on the streets, just filming on the streets and encountering real people and shit. And they went and filmed. Their backdrop was going to be the Democratic National Convention in 1968, and it broke out into a riot. And so they just kept filming, and they're filming in the middle of the 68 Democratic Convention riots as their backdrop. So I was thinking we could go out and film some scenes with this great backdrop that we've got here. If anybody's got a script, they can adapt to it. I'd be willing to do it. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go anywhere. I think I'm just going to go down in this tide, go down swinging. When they come, they can pry this guitar out of my cold, dead hands. Yeah, I think I'll check out. Oof. Wearing down. Thank you for listening.